Hi everybody. I am super excited to be talking to you live, well, semi-live, but face to face via the internet. The point of this video is to start diving into some of the more practical ways that we can use nature connection in order to help us become more resilient and to really find a state of centeredness and, dare I say, joy in the everyday. And one of the things that I think comes up a lot is when we're dealing with things like chronic pain and illness and all of these other aspects of sort of modern life, including mental health struggles of anxiety, depression, dealing with things like insomnia, and the list goes on, we find ourselves in a state of overwhelm and suppressed grief. And that may sound like a big, huge commentary to make on things that might seem as everyday as, an aching foot. But these are things that we really don't address most of the time. We're trying to get through our days. We're finding that there's a little bit of guilt around acknowledging that we are unhappy. And this is something that I think is really important to get back to in a very practical way. And that is dealing with the sense of grief for what we're going through. The positive psychology movement today has been so instrumental in improving people's lives, including mine, in extraordinary ways, doing things like gratitude journals and recognizing the positive aspects of our lives instead of focusing on the negative. I feel like there is a little bit of a backlash with that, in that we spend a lot of our time trying to maintain a positive mindset, so much so that we ignore the true grief that we're going through. So these are things that work together, not either or, but both, in that we can keep a positive mindset by waking up in the morning and thinking about the things we're grateful for. And then at the same time, really feel into our bodies and what's really going on for us in a non-judgmental way, so that we can be at ease even in those moments that don't feel easy at all. And in doing that, we take the charge out of holding so tightly to staying positive. We say it's okay to feel pain and grief and even self-pity, which is something that obviously we're discouraged to do in society for the most part. We're not talking about the type of pity that takes you down into a state of inaction. We're talking about the kind of self-compassion that enables us to acknowledge what's going on, feel through it, and then move forward. So I wanted to tell you about a practice that is actually in the Nature Connection Discovery e-course, and it's also in my book Wildly Simple. This is not something that I came up with. This is something that has been in practice for hundreds of years, thousands of years. This is deep nature connection practice. And it doesn't come as easily to us when we're considered disconnected or less connected to nature. However, it's very easy to do. It's a very natural instinct for us to connect to nature, and I want to just give you the steps to do it. So one of the things that I talk about a lot is having a sit spot, and we won't go into that right now. but the idea of having a place in nature or looking out to nature that is a consistent spot that you can return to day after day, week after week, month after month, season after season is something that's really helpful in getting a sense of continuity and stability and watching change happen in its most natural form. Assuming you have a sit spot, and even if you don't, this is totally doable in your office chair. I do this quite a bit actually when I'm at my desk in my chair. I also do it at nighttime when I take my nighttime bath, and it's a wonderful way to just take that relaxation down even further into a deeper state of relaxation. The principle behind this is that you really don't want to get in your head too much, be focused up in here so much. And then the other kind of way that the pendulum will swing is that all of a sudden you're telling yourself, don't be in my head, don't be in my head, and then you disconnect. And that's also something that we're not trying to achieve here. What we want is full connection and not feeling like this pressure to transcend the pain. So it sounds like a tall order, but here we go. The idea is simple. Just get comfortable. You can sit, lay back. If you're in a bathtub, obviously you're relaxing. If you're in bed, whatever. If you're out here on a beautiful hill like I get to be right now, close your eyes and just take a deep breath. Take 3 purifying, cleansing deep breaths that just enable you to come into the moment. After you do that, keep your eyes closed and feel through your body. Just do a quick body scan. You can do it at your own pace, but it doesn't have to be in going into every detail of your cellular structure. What you want to do right here is just feel the emotional sense that you're getting right now. Where are you today? Where are you right this minute? No judgment, no fixing. If you get different thoughts that come along with this, just allow them to go on with their day while you sit and you just feel, what does your foot feel like? What does your leg feel like? Just go through your physical body and really feel into each one. Where are you feeling tension? Where are you feeling relaxed? Where are you feeling pain? What's not feeling painful today? What's tingling? All of those things. A general overall sense. Continue to breathe deeply. After you go through that, consider how your skin feels. Some of it will be exposed. How does that feel? How does the air feel on your skin? Is it warm? Is it cool? Is there a breeze? Is it still? Is it dry? Is it tingling? Is it itchy? What about the skin that's covered? How does that feel? Does it feel warm? Does it feel cozy? Maybe there's no judgment attached to it whatsoever. You just feel what it feels like to have fiber against your skin. What about what you're sitting on? What your feet are resting on? How does that feel, that moment of contact? Continue to breathe, and as you do that, with your eyes closed, start to tune into what you hear. Try to hear the loudest thing you can. That's not difficult to do. We're geared to hearing the loudest first. Now try to hear past that. Literally, try to hear as far as you can. What's the farthest sound that you can hear? What's the closest sound that you can hear? Can you actually hear the hair in your ears? Can you hear the wind against your ears? Can you hear any kind of insect or rustling? Can you hear different electrical outlets or devices humming? Can you hear cars going by? Can you hear birds? What is going on in your environment? Just listen. Just give yourself a few minutes to just hear near and far, loud and soft, up and down, behind you, everywhere. Once you've gone through as many sounds as you can, and you're ready to move on, with a continued deep breath and your eyes closed, think about what you're smelling. Don't think about it actually, just smell. What can you sense through your nose? Sometimes this is difficult to do, to actually tune into the actual smells that are happening. Try not to get too fixated on what the smell, where the smell is coming from, but to really consider what the smell is itself. Sometimes I'm walking outside and I think I'm smelling earth, and then because I'm outside, but when I really pay attention, it's actually kind of a fruity smell, and I realize that I'm walking by some lemon sage or something different. So consider what it is that you're actually smelling. Just allow that experience to be unfiltered. And once you get the smells, this is the interesting part. You can actually try to taste those smells. With your eyes closed, sometimes it helps to actually gulp in some air, but really try to just taste the smell. I'm always surprised that when I do actually taste the smell, it's rarely what I assume the taste would be like. I find that candles burning taste tinny to me. And it's really fun and kind of a surprise when you're able to connect an actual taste with a smell that you didn't expect. So try that. And when you're feeling like you've really sipped in all of the flavors around you via smell, open your eyes. What do you see? Are colors brighter, more vivid? What about light and shadow? Is there a lot of contrast between it? What's actually moving in your landscape? Do you see rustling? Does it feel incredibly still and yet there's movement? What about the composition of the shapes that create reality in front of you? Now try seeing to the peripheral side of your vision. If you take your finger and you move it and you continue to look straight ahead and you keep moving your finger to the side, how far back can you go and still see your finger? I can see my finger up till about there. And this is an interesting thing. You can actually expand your peripheral vision and create a wider angle of vision. just by practicing, trying to take your vision to the outward edges of the periphery. It's pretty fascinating because once you do that, you realize you're actually sensing things that your eyes aren't necessarily picking up, that are right behind you. And in essence, you're kind of seeing the shadow through your sense, through your felt sensation. So just being aware of what's around you in the simplest of ways can be deeply satisfying, not only psychologically, but also autonomic nervous system level. And so it causes your heart rate to slow down, unless you're hearing a lion roar, in which case you'll have a different experience. But just knowing what's around you is a very calming experience. That's it. That is the practice. What I really love about it is that you can finish it in any way you want. Fall asleep, take a deep breath, release the experience to go back to your day, or sit in quiet insight meditation for as long as you'd like. And thank yourself for doing this practice, for taking the time to do it. I take about 10 minutes to do this, sometimes 15, sometimes a half an hour if I really have the time and I'm involved in it. But it doesn't have to be much. And the best part about it is that what's happening is that you're not actually leaving your body, you're doing the exact opposite. You're turning inward and you're using your body as a tool to become closer and closer to what is real, to what is going on in the present moment. And that is incredibly valuable. So give that a try and see how it goes for you. I would love to hear your responses, and as always, you can always email me. I did want to say one thing, and I'm sure as a nature lover, you do this to a certain extent already. But what I like to do is grab a little token from my sit spot or anywhere out in nature when I have the time to have an insight and a quiet moment like doing this practice, because it reminds me that I have that waiting for me whenever I want it, whenever I need it. And so I'm showing you this piece of coral that I found washed up on a beach in Hawaii, and I don't normally take corals, but this one was very small and what I call a feely, and I can grab onto it and just kind of rub it and hold it whenever I'm feeling like I need to ground myself. And it reminds me of exactly where I was. And not all my feelies remind me of exactly the place that I was, but what it does remind me of is the feeling that I get when I step into nature and I allow myself to relax and be free, even if it's just for a few moments. So when things get very difficult, I can always take a look at something like this and feel it and know that that's waiting for me. That is always available to us. And I hope with that you find some joy in your day, some calm, and I will be talking to you soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.